In a minute, I'm just showing my brushes, and then I'm just doing her hands and feet and her lips. Because I like to do some air dry before heat set, because I can't touch air dry after heat set. If you want to, but I'm just doing mild work. Okay. Put that down there. Okay. Watch out, kiddo. I'm going to put you right there. My new toy. Okay. Take this off. Oh, I hate when they do that. I bought this new little gadget because I thought it would be good for my brushes to keep dust off of certain ones, especially in air dry. And then when I'm done air dry, I'll put my heat set ones, my smaller heat set ones in here. I'll just put it this way for now. So how do you get it off? Oh, it's got a tape. More tape? There we go. Comes off like that. And then I'm going to put my main air dry colors if it'll fit. No, they won't. Oh, yeah, they will. Yeah, but no, it's kind of squishy. That's okay because I got all my colors in here. So I mainly wanted this for my kabuki brushes, but I don't think they're all going to fit in here. Oh. Okay, let me see. Oh, this one, I don't think this one was cleaned yet. No, I don't think it is now. Just rub it on there. Yeah, now it's nice and fluffy. So put one in there. Because they get dust because they're like wider brushes. Red, yellow. And then I have a blue one. See here. And then I have my blending brushes I can put in the middle. And then I've got there's another blending brush. I can't put my big brushes in there because it's too tall, see? Hi, Elizabeth. This is my new gadget. You like it? I got it from a dollar store yesterday. For makeup, but I don't wear makeup. Not unless I'm going somewhere special. That one shouldn't be too high. And then these are detail brushes. It takes up less room than my other brush holder. And then these ones are also detail brushes. So I'm going to put them. Now, let's see how this goes on. So I got my kabukis in here. These are air dry. So I got my kabukis in here. I got my detail brushes, my blending brushes. And then here we go. Let's see if this will all fit in here. Oh, it actually does. Yay! Oh, this brush has to come out. It's bending it. And look. Yeah, this one's too tall. That's okay. That's my vein brush. And this one's too tall. And I'll take out this one. But these are the main brushes I'm going to be using because I'm in detailing now, except for the kabukis. Once you hit... Yeah, the kabuki is kind of... I need to sit up more straight. There we go. It'll keep the dust off my brushes. Isn't that neat? I got at our Dollarama in Ontario, Canada. I got this for $5. Can you believe that? I like the gold around it too. I'm going to put my heat set detailing brushes in here when I'm done my air dry work. For when I go full heat set, I'll switch it over to heat set. Put some alcohol on that later. Get the rest of the stickers off. But, yeah, that's my new buddy. So, and it takes up so much less room because my other holder is about this wide. So if you see this here, my other one goes like this wide. So you see how less room this one takes up. And these are very common brushes that I use. Very common. So I wanted to put my most common. Apparently, this fell off my rooting pillow and went in my sister's foot. Yeah, that didn't feel too good. I got to check when I come back that no needles fell. Okay, so yesterday, oh, there's still more of that over here. I'll take care of it later. So yesterday I went to Value Village, but I also went to where's my bag? Oh, I also went to Dollarama, as you know, because that's where I got that. I can't find my other alcohols, and this one is down to the bottom. So I grabbed, because I have remember when I moved back down here, I kind of packed everything away. So, hey Trey, did you see my new gadget? Isn't that cool? It's for makeup. So, I got another alcohol, so I'm all good. I buy this, because I use this on my tongue as a tongue scraper. And then, this is what I brush, my Reborn's hair with this. So, hers needed to be replaced. This one's gotten all gunky. I've had this one for a long time. So, I'm going to throw that one out in the garbage. And we'll start fresh. I got more brushes. Because I had to take 2 of these brushes and use it for medium. And I don't like to mix my paint and medium brushes. And look at all, you know how I'm always running out of mixing brushes for heat set? Like all the time. And then I'm like, oh, I can't do anymore. I have no more mixing brushes. I bought these because they're nice and small for the little jars that I use for heat set. So these are for my heat set. I'll probably put like a couple of the bigger ones in the air dry. But these, so I did need these. So I'm glad I got these. I still have to post it on YouTube. But in Facebook, but I did post update photos of little Brittany here. So if you guys want to see it, it's on my TikTok account, but it will be on the YouTube account this evening. I just had to watch my battery level so I could do the live. So I could do the live today. They came out so cute. And that's just an update. Those are just update photos. She still has, I still got to work on her hands and feet and a little more on her lips and detailing. So that's like shading and blushing. And I want to add a little more veins. Because some of them got washed out. Not all of them, but some of them. So let me see. These big ones I use for dry brushing, so put those in air dry, and then this one will go air dry, and then look how teeny tiny that one is. How many do I have? Oh, I have 2 sets for heat set. Okay, so I'll just keep those in air dry, and then these ones here. These are just from my dollar store. These are $2, and the other ones I showed you, I think, are $3.50. You know, these would be great for silicone because they're so cheap. You don't ever want to use expensive brushes when you do silicone because it damages your brushes. Because you're basically painting with slime. Okay, so these 2 will go to air dry. These 3 actually will go to air dry. So I'll just put them in here. And then these ones will all go to my heat set. I will have... Oh, these ones I don't have to wrap with tape because, no, they're not painted. When you have heat set brushes, if they're painted like these ones, there's no covering over it. It's just paint. Well, the paint will coat on your hands from the thinner, so that's why I use this tape. But these ones are not painted, so I don't have to tape these ones up. So I'll put those with the rest of the mixing brushes. See, these are my mixing brushes I got from Amazon. And I'll show you what happens. See how the paint came off from the thinner? And it gets on my hands, which is not good because it can get on the Reborn. So, all right. So I think that's about for the art stuff. Yeah. And then these are the pads I buy that you see on my table. They're doggy pee pads. They sell them for, you get 14 for $3.50 at my dollar store. Oh, and because the primer took so much of my sponges, I bought another pack of sponges to refill in there. Because primer takes a lot. Primer, varnish, top coat, whatever, all that stuff. All right, so I'm going to work on her hands and feet before I go to heat set. Okay, it's always, if you're going to do air dry and heat set, it's better if you do your air dry first and then do your heat set, because if you get any type of oils on them, it's not good, or thinner or anything like that. you could ruin them. So because right now I'm doing both, I always start with air dry first. And I just want to get her hands and feet moving along because I want her done for Valentine's Day. So, or before, whenever she's done. So I'll grab her limbs here. Okay, so these are her limbs right here. Look how long her legs are. See? It's a long baby. Gonna be a tall one. Well, she's all grown now. Like, not, like she's an older kid now. She's been out for, she's probably about 7 maybe now. 7 years old now. Because this is a real born. So these are from an, replicated off of an actual real baby. So I got this kit in 2020. I'm not sure how long she was out for before I got her. I think it says on here. This is a bountiful baby. Oh. Does he say 2011? No, Brittany didn't exist in 2011. That must be when their company started. Yeah, that must have been when the company started, because Brittany wasn't made in 2011. They didn't even start coming out with real borns until, I think it was in 2018 or 2019. They just started, like, they only had like a few around that time. So I know she's not that. Yeah, I think she's a real baby's about at least 7 or something like that. 6 or 7. Okay. So I'm going to take this lid off my new gadget. I need my visors on so I can actually read what you guys are saying, because YouTube won't let us make the lettering bigger and they make it so small. Okay. No, I said hi to Elizabeth. Hello, Monica. Tracy Sheepoo, who is my sister. Jonathan Sullivan. Oh, they just waved. That's not an actual hi. And Emily. Hello, Emily. Okay. All right. So, basically, just gonna... Toby, of course. That's Toby's little hairs here. Ugh. All right, so I'm going to put an air dry glove on. I usually only wear one for air dry unless I'm doing varnishing or something like that. I usually just use the one where I'm holding her. So I'm just going to do her hands and feet. So basically, when I'm making them more red, like newborn red. Not too red though, because she has an olive skin. I think I might wind up... her hands are... I don't know, they're pretty... This one's a bit darker. I'm wondering if I should add... Since I did it to her skin. I'm going to add a brown to her. It's a weak brown. So it's not a full brown. It's weak, which means it doesn't make her skin brown, but it tints her skin. We do use it in reborns to add like a tint to their skin. You know how we have like that tint to our skin, Caucasians, like that. Okay, so I'm going to use one of my new mixie brushes. Mix this up. So you can see it's lighter because it's weaker. So. Ma! Mom! Everyone can hear your conversation. Yeah, you might want some privacy. Especially when if you're talking to Ronnie, brother, very private person. He doesn't even use social media. Okay, so I'm gonna take my lid off my new toy here. All right, and I use my red kabuki for my brown color because there's red and brown. And then I'm going to need a sponge. With air dry, like heat set, I just grab things as I go. But with air dry, you want everything prepared because it dries so fast. So we got the kabuki, we got this, and then a wash brush. So I'm going to use, again, my red wash brush, which I don't think is clean, right? Is it? I don't see it in there. This is hiding. Oh, yes it is. It's just hiding. Okay. So we'll use my red and the brown. All right, so we just take our hand. And I'm going to hold our hand downwards so that it flows down and not up her arm, which can cause... You see how light that is? See how weak it is? It's not strong at all. I use it on her arms to bring a more olive look to her. So this is the kind of thing I wouldn't do until the end, though. Some people do it during their methods, but this is just end stuff I do. Okay. Alright. So then I'm going to use this kabuki brush. This will give her texture in her skin, so it doesn't look flat. It'll look like part of her skin texture. And I am going to be trying a air dry textured skin medium I bought on her. I'm going to try it on the back of her head first, though, before I use it anywhere else. Mother, we can still hear you. She picks a real good time to have a conversation in the kitchen. I don't think my brother wants his business on YouTube, if that's who she's talking to. I assume that's who she's talking to. Okay, so for in between her fingers, I use a dry brush. And I just go in between and grab what's stuck in there. I do the same thing with heat set as well. Making sure you always want to check the top part of the thumb here because things can get hidden in there. But yeah, that looks good. Probably going to do a couple of those layers, so I'll go back to her other hand once I get her feet done. Great thing about air dry is you don't have to wait for it to sit and dry and stuff, so. But you don't want to do it like right away, like give it a few minutes. Okay. Same thing. You can see the color on the mat. You see how faint it is? Okay. This will help darken her skin a little bit, more like her arm and legs. Because I changed the way I was doing her when she started fading with the bad red batch of paint I was using the first time around. So I had to kind of change my direction with her so I wouldn't have to strip her. So it's actually worked out really well. So I added a lot more red washes to her and texturing with the other paint I use now. I did that last winter. And then when the spring, when the spring came around, I went full heat set for the spring, summer, and fall. So I kind of put her to the side, and she never faded. So in all that time, so that's really great. And she still has no signs of fading. So um, I'm using Pyro Red by Golden Fluids now, in case anyone's wondering which color I'm using that's not fading. Because red is a common color to fade with air dry, because we're using water to thin the paint, and water can cause weakening of the strength of the color, and light and red don't get along together. So when you weaken the paint, it causes it to fade much easier. So, but there's different paints are made with different ingredients and stuff. So whatever they put into this paint stands out nice and strong. Yeah, that looks good there. Yeah, I definitely want to do just one more layer of that because it's so weak. Oh, there is. Believe me, in person there is. You won't see it the way I see it in person because the camera takes out saturation and contrast. So it's a lot different to me in person than it is for you. Even all the detail and everything like that, it's completely different, like way better in person. But yeah, the foot is lighter, a lot lighter actually. But I've done more work to it, so it is getting closer. But for newborn babies, hands and feet are more red, and it's different from their arms and their legs. So I like them to be as realistic as I can get them to be. You might see it better on her update pictures because I edit those to look, I add contrast and saturation to the pictures to bring it as close to how she actually looks as possible. So you might be able to see in there. I don't know. I didn't really get a chance to study the pictures that long. Okay. Just looking in those. She's got a lot of creases. I got a crease in there. I'm going to use pan pastel powders for that. I don't use eyeshadow because I've had I did a Lulu kit and the eyeshadow peeled her creases peeled off after she was varnished and everything. So I switched over to pan pastel, and I haven't had that issue with pan pastel. So because pan pastel is made to stick, it's powdered paint. It's not the same thing as eyeshadow. Eyeshadow is made to be able to take it off, you know? So it's just made differently. Oops. It's different type of ingredients. And there was another artist that told me about it. The only thing is, because it's so strong, once you put it on, it's on. You can lighten it with the sponge, but oh shoot, got it on her leg. It's okay. I caught it right away, so that's good. If I catch it right away, it won't cure to her. But what was I saying? Yeah, so anyway, they're made differently. I was actually shocked though that when I stripped a kit using them, it didn't stain. Because someone told me, like, even if you strip it, it will stain, but it didn't. So maybe if you do it early on, it might. I don't know. Oh, there's some more here. Just gotta take that off. I don't want the... Because if I blend it, it'll cure into the vinyl. Okay, so I'm going to use this dry brush to get down in those toes. I can see it bubble in those toes. Alright, then. So, what I did with this one, I didn't want to sell her in case she faded, even though she's not showing any signs of it. So, she's going to my sister for her birthday. So that way, if she does have any issues down the road, which she will with the way my sister changes her babies, I told my sister I can redo her in heat set down the road. You know, she'll last quite a while, but she'll eventually, you know, from being loved up so much, she will eventually get smudges and stuff like that. So, I would just rather her go to somebody that is in my personal life so that I can not worry about what happens to like a paying customer, you know what I mean? And she does look a lot like my sister did when she was a baby, so it was fitting. I bought this kit like in 2020, but I had so many customs, you know, because I couldn't really afford to Reborn before without doing customs. So I did customs in air dry. I still am working on my last custom in air dry right now, actually. Maddie. I don't do customs anymore, but after the ones I'm working on right now, obviously. Unless it's for someone in my personal life, like a close friend or close family. Because I have, you know, I have health issues and stuff, and I work slower because of those health issues. And also my OCD makes me work slower because I'm being so careful of everything I'm doing. I know some artists go pounce, 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 and then next, you know, where I'm more like triple checking, double checking, you know, especially in heat set because it dries so slow. But and then I just went through a bad experience last year that kind of made me choose that even more. So yeah, her hands are so much lighter than her arm because I was going a different way with it, but I had to switch it. Okay, make sure I have her hand down. See, I rather, when I'm using brown as a tint, I'd rather go weaker and do 2 layers than go too strong. Because with air dry, it does darken a little bit when it cures. So you want to be careful about that, you know. Where heat set is opposite, it lightens. So it took me a while to get used to that. Especially the veins. But my teacher taught me a trick that I'm going to try next time I do veins. And heat set. There's still some in here. Alright, that's good. So I'll do her other footsies. Same has already been done to her head, so. Okay, she's really coming together. So she'll definitely be my next one to go. To finish. It's been a long time waiting, too. Because I wanted to let her sit to see if she would fade or not. And if she had faded by this winter, then I was just going to strip her and start her all over again. But she didn't. So, she didn't have full fading like some other kits I've done in that bad batch, you know. But she turned like an orange color, so that's why I went to olive with her. But also giving her that red, newborn complexion. I'm also going to be making her a custom soother, so I will show you guys when I do that. I'll show you online how I make custom soothers. Every artist is different, but I'll show you how I do it. Okay. Oh, there's oil there. I love her update pictures. They came out so cute. And wait till you see her when I take all this shine off. It'll be something. Because the shine takes away from the detailing. So that's why I'm saying that. When you see her, you'll see her detail really pop. Because this one actually has probably about 45 layers. Because I was taking a class by Sue Ellen. Her Just Born effect. So I did a lot of detailing on her. That's why she has so many layers. They're like types of skin details. Um, yeah, so in a lot of red and stuff like that. And obviously, as you know, a lot of that red faded, so I had to re-add it. But so with all the extra work I've done on her, she's at least 45 layers. Newborns and African American babies generally have, or olive skin generally have more layers, obviously, since they're a bit darker. But yeah, I can't wait to see her details pop. Dry brushes don't usually stay so dry with air dry because of the water. Okay. Oh, see this still. I would just grab another brush, but it'd be a waste since this is. I have to let these layers sit, and I'll check her tonight and see where we're at tonight. What I'm going to do next. It usually, just by looking at her, it pops right into my head. Like sometimes, like today, I was planning on doing red. And then I was like, no. I'm going to change it. I'm going to add some brown. So it all depends how it looks to me. Looking at her leg and then looking at her foot. And, you know, it all kind of it'll just pop out at me. Once you're an artist for so long, you know, when you get to know your colors and how they work and what they do. Someone said that to me when I was a new artist, and I said, oh, I'm never going to be able to do that. Here I am doing it. So I'll do her, I'm going to add some more red to her lips tonight, since I'm going to add more red to her feet tonight. But I just wanted to add some tinting layers to her feet since I did it to her arms, legs, and head. So that's where we're going to be at with Brittany for now, until tonight. I'll be working on her in the evenings. I only do air dry. So I'll be working on her tonight at 7 p.m. on TikTok. Same channel name for those of you that want to follow her progress. But she'll be back on again tomorrow to show you guys what I've done. Okay. Now we're going to work on heat set. I'm just going to put these, get rid of that. So I put my brushes to the side. And I always flip this over. This is from when I spilt my water. I'm so upset. See, I got to change my water here. This is from, look, this was clear water. This is from priming. It turned milky from all the priming I did on Maddie and Ellie and Maddie. Okay, so obviously I have to switch gloves. This is an air dry glove. You don't want to use the same glove because heat set is oily. Air dry and oily are not friends. Just dry my hands so I can get this on. So, like I've been saying, when the air dry babies are done, I'll be going full heat set. So I don't want to say I won't be doing any air dry in the spring because I started late. I was supposed to start in January and I started back on them in February. So I can't say I won't be doing any air dries in the spring. But when I'm done all the air dries I wanted to do an air dry, then I won't be doing any more air dry. I'll be full heat set at that point. It's too expensive buying products for both sides, you know what I mean? Like you see, you have to have different brushes, different gloves, different paints, different mediums. It's just, bleh. All right. So I'm going to put this hood back on. All right. So let's air dry. And my heat set brushes are right here. Isn't this cute? One of my closest friends had this made for me. It's got my name on it. And she gave me a matching notebook with it in wall stickers. It's really cute. Okay, I was just checking messages before I move along. All right, so there's not a whole lot that I can do to heat set, unfortunately, because we've had a lot of freezing temperature. And I bake in my basement. So it's not a room that I can really get temperature control of because there's no heater in that room. Like the heat runs in that room from the laundry room, but I have to keep all that closed when I'm baking and everything. So I'm afraid of, I have to preheat in the wintertime, and it's dangerous if I don't have the window open enough. So, it's dangerous for me because I can actually feel myself getting dizzy from the lack of oxygen. So I talked to my customers and I told them I can't preheat unless I can have the window properly open. So they told me to just take my time so that they don't get temperature shock from not preheating. So because that has happened to one of mine. So anyway, what I decided to do is start working on the limbs, but I can work on the lips on some of them because they're all waiting to be baked. Here's one of them. This is Pickle. So he had some issues with his nose, so I've been fixing that. But he needs more liquid thin to grab it better. And liquid thin can work as it's not a primer, but it can work like a primer because it's powdered soft, so it grabs the paint really well. See, his bottom lips here are not grabbing the paint very well. So this part here and this part here need, but underneath and at the top are grabbing just fine. So that's part of heat set, annoying part of heat set. But, other than that, he's pretty good. I've done ear detailing and stuff like that. It's just getting him there. So here's Primrose. These are all heat set. So I'm going to add some lip color to her lips. So this here is my palette that I use for heat set. So I use these so that dust or hair doesn't get into them. These are my little lids. So because this stuff doesn't do good in those clear plastic things with the lid on, it makes it really sticky. So that's why I'm just using this. And I haven't had a problem using this. So I'm going to go into the lips, the one that says lips. That's the color, but that's when it's dark. So as you add more lips, like layers, it starts off really light, like you can see here. The more you go, the darker they get. So it's up to you on the color. But I do also add like a blood flow color from my creasing or blush, just to get the undertone blood in there. But for people who like them really light pink, then they just wouldn't add as many layers of this color. For those who do like the rose lips, like this color, then they would keep going until they get to that color. So I'm going to use my lip brush. I like this one. That's my lip brush. I also use it for detailing heat set. So I got it from Michael's. Nice brush. So I'm going to just mix this. because the oils go to the top and the paint goes to the bottom, meaning the thinner, sorry. So I'm just going to open that. So I'm just going to go over. She may probably need some more primer on the lips. Okay, then I'm going to use my blender brush. This is actually a paintbrush. They're called mini blender paintbrushes. You see, you will know if the paint is sticking when you blend it. If it stays, then you know it's sticking. If you're getting more of the undercolor, then it's not sticking very well. So there are some areas of her lips where it is and where it isn't. So after I bake her, I'm probably going to do a primer on her again. I don't think I did. Yeah, I did. I did it on her before. But the lips are very sensitive because they're so rounded and really smooth that it makes it very much harder for the heat set to stick. But she's doing well. Her other layers haven't been baked yet, too. So I got to get her baked. But I just add layers to her when I've got the paint out. But she's sticking better than it did the first time around. So I'm going to add some lip color to her tongue to pinken that up more. So just put in her mouth like this. Her kit is really neat because it actually has a textured tongue. I've never seen that before. Laura Lee Eagles is very, very gifted. Just like Bonnie Brown. There's a lot of gifted sculptures out there, but I'm more familiar with Bonnie Brown and Laura Lee Eagles. So I'm just going to pounce that in there with a dry brush so that it bakes properly. So that looks good. Just making sure her lip is just a tad over her lip there. That one's fine. These areas have to cure, so I can't do anything else to this area. And her ear detailing has to cure, because when you're working with heat set, the paint can easily be taken off without it curing. So you have to be really careful with that. So I don't want to add any more detail to her face until she cures. So here's another one that's having that issue too. So her top lip, no problem at all. But and her bottom is fine. But there's a part here and here that needs more primer. So I'm going to add more primer there. And then this one needs to be baked. Now, this is what I meant. See, she wasn't preheated. So you see what happened. You see how it's not properly flat. It's kind of like slanted. And it pushed up. It pushed down. Because you see how this is up here, but this isn't. So that's what happens in the wintertime when I don't preheat. So that's why I haven't been baking. And we got Oakland here. Oakland is waiting for, that one has primer on her lips that hasn't been baked yet. And this one has primer on the lips that hasn't been baked yet. So that's why I can't work on them yet. But I did add some stuff to their ears. So that'll get baked when they get baked too. And then I have my Laura over here. Oops, sorry. This is my Laura. Her lips are looking better. The bottom lip one is still, it's getting there. But I'm going to add some more primer to her lips to be on the safe side, especially the bottom. And I had to fix her nose because she had issues with her nose, if you could see it closer. But it's actually not looking too bad because they do have a yellow bulb up here. So I won't be doing that since it's just mostly this area I want to fix over here. But she's my baby, so it doesn't really matter. But yeah, she did wind up with some temperature shock. So that's why I leave the towels in her head when she's in the oven, and it supports her head. I do this now with any baby bigger than a newborn. She's a little bigger than a newborn because it gives them better support in their head. Because when but you got to make sure you don't stuff it too much or it can distort the features. So you want to make sure you're not distorting the features. But when she bakes, it's keeping her well. And it restores because it happened to her ring. And it sunk her down a bit. So this way it'll support her because once vinyl gets weakened, it's more likely to weaken in the same area. So because when the vinyl is in the oven, it gets really hot. It gets very soft and heavy. So that's why it slinks down if it gets any form of shock. So that's same thing happened to the pickle kit. They've been doing well. I have taken the towels out to check their stability, and they've been doing really well. And then when you fill them, you won't even notice it, right? So thankfully I was able, it wasn't too bad. But I had a kit, my test kit. The same thing happened to him, but he's a very thin vinyl, older vinyl. His kit was from 2016, I think. Or 12, somewhere in that realm. So what happened was his neck drooped over on this side. So his neck is actually bent over, like where his head is slinked to the side. So he got it the worst. So thankfully I learned, she didn't. I was adjusting the ovens when I put her in. And then a mentor reached out to me and told me to get an oven thermometer. And so I did. And now I'm not having that problem. But everyone's climates are different. So you're not all going to get the same reader on your ovens because they're all different climates. So I'm being very careful not to repeat mistakes. And I will have to test the ovens again in the spring. And I will have to test them again in the summer. So as your weather is shifting, that's when they need to be tested. Okay. That's another reason why I don't want to do customs and heat set, because if anything goes wrong, I'm liable. So every time pickle goes in the oven, it's stressful. But I have a backup of Primrose. I have a backup of Duran. So I'm not worried about those ones. But, well, I am, but not as much as pickles. So that's why it's a very, that's why I felt it's probably not good for my heart to do customs for heat set. So, yeah, that's why I won't be doing any customs. So what I can do in the meantime is work on the limbs in those areas where there's some issues there. So that's what I'm going to do today. Okay, so I'm done with this thing for today. The colors I need on there. So we're going to start with Pickles since he's right beside me here. As you can see, he had the same issue he had on his face. I'm going to bring him down so people can see who I'm working on. This is dry now. It looks wet, but it's not. So anyway, you can see he had the same issue on his hand that happened with his nose. He actually had it in his eyes and everything, but I've restored that. See, he had it. These were all like bare up here, but I've restored it. It just takes forever when it's a darker skinned baby. So, and then you need to bake, you know, every so many layers. So what I decided to do today is start working on his other areas that need touch-ups, like on his hands here. So I think I'm going to, he's got it really bad on the fingers too. Yeah, those really had a hard time. And he was primed and everything when I started him. It's just some kids are pickier than others. Yep, so I'm going to do the same thing that I did to his nose. Yeah, his arms do look a little lighter. Try to go by the top of the head. Yeah, they are a little... Isn't that weird how arms and the head come out? But our heads are not the exact same color as our arms and legs, actually. They're not always that way. I could... Let me see his other arm. Yeah. Yeah, this one looks a little... Okay, yeah, I'll have to bring those... Because, see, that happens when the paint sticks to some spots and not others. It can be challenging. Like here, it's perfect. See how perfect that is there? And then here is the challenging areas. So I'll have to fix that. Okay. I'm just using my artist brain right now to figure out how I want to do that without... This is good here. Wondering what color I should use. I'm just trying to think if I should use my stronger... Yeah, probably for this area here. Okay. I'm going to start with this arm first. I usually don't, but that's just what I feel like I need to do. So this is actually his crease color, which I have used to restore some areas on his face because it goes faster and his creases look really good. So I'm not worried about not having crease color. Okay, where's a mixing brush? Here's my mixing. See, I'm going to use my new brush today. It just takes a lot of work to fix it, but you know, that's just part of heat set, right? It's just the way it goes. Lots for me to learn. But thankfully, I have really good customers. I have very good understanding customers who know that I'm new to heat set, and so I'm really blessed in that way because it would be a lot more stressful for me if I didn't. So, all right. So what I'm going to do is I'm actually just going to use the brush that I'm using for mixing. And I'm just going to work in some of these areas here. But I want to apply it. I'm going to apply it with a kabuki so I can still keep the texture in here going. So what I'm basically doing is blending this in with the other color that did cure properly. Is basically what I'm doing. So I'm going to take this kabuki brush here, which is a heat set one. And I'm just going to blend it in, okay, with the skin. And you work this layer by layer. Don't want to rush it too much. I'm just giving it a little head start. Okay, and then I'm going to blend it with one of these, but I'm going to tear it so that it has a texture on it. Okay, to match the rest of them. And I'm just going to blend it. So it is a frustrating thing to have to do. It can be stressful and frustrating and tedious and all that, but it does work out in the end. You know, I was a little nervous when his nose and eyes did that, but I just kept telling myself, trust the process. You've done it in air dry. Because I had an air dry situation, not like this, because it sticks pretty good, but it was a neutralizing situation where one arm was completely different than the other arm. So, very different. Like, it didn't look like it belonged the same. It was due to the staining when I stripped the kit. So, it was really weird that one side stained more yellow than the other side. That's what happened. So it was very challenging, but you know, I was able to do it even at times when I didn't think I could. I did. So you just have to really trust the process. It took me a long time to do that. I'm not saying it's an easy thing to do. See, like here in his hand, it's so weird because he's got like this line here. You see that? Because it didn't bake properly up here. He's just been really challenging. I would say he's been the most challenging. If I knew that, I should have done 2 layers of primer, but I didn't. I was given like a trial size, so I didn't have a lot of primer. So I was afraid that I wouldn't have enough and yada yada yada. But for now on, I definitely plan to do 2 layers. Or if not, a layer of primer and a layer of probably I would do a layer of primer and a layer of the Liquithin. And that'll make a big difference. Rather than just one layer of primer and that's it. Because you're going to get some areas that might not have baked the primer properly. That's the same thing with air dry. When you're using air dry primer, you should do 2 layers because it's not going to get into all the areas the first time around. So it's good to do the 2 layers, right? Also, in case it seeps through that layer, it's good to have the 2 layers. It is a lot of product to go through, but you can base your prices to cover the products, you know? So that's got to dry, and then I can do more layers. So what I'm going to do with his hands, because see here, now this is where it becomes complicated, is this part cured fully. So this is darker here, and the top of his finger is not. So the problem with that is if you do the darker area, then it's going to look really dark. So you don't want to do that. You're trying to blend the color in. So make sure you don't put it where the color is dark. If you accidentally do it, you can just, it's air dry or heat set, you can wipe it off. So instead of using that sponge, I'm going to use a blending brush, and I don't want a big blending brush. Where's my other one? I have 3 sizes of these ones. Come on, where are you hiding? I don't know why I don't see it. Okay, I'll use this one then. Alright, so I'm just going to blend it like this. See? And you will see if it overlaps a darker area, you will see it because it'll look too dark. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to take a dry brush, a big dry brush, and I'm just going to go over that. If I use a sponge in this area, it will, one, take way too much off, and then it could spread it too far over, which I don't want. That's why I wanted to start, since I can't bake right now, I figured, well, I'll start on their limbs so I can get some work done. And then I'll just bake them when I get the head spades. So this one, actually, I'm not going to do too much with this one because I think I'm really going to mess it up. So I'm just going to go into this area here. Just right in here. And then I'm going to use the dry brush. This is for blending purposes, if you're wondering why I'm using a dry brush. Because heat set, you got to make sure it's really blended. See, you usually air dry can, if you're further along on your kit, it will start blending itself. But with heat set, you have to blend it in because it doesn't cure and set in until it's baked, right? And if you don't, it'll come out really blotchy. So this finger is pretty good. I just added a little bit down here. This finger is really good. Not seeing any issues here. So I'm going to leave that one for now. If these turn out to be a little darker, it can add just a little one layer of, not that color, a lighter color that I have, that I use for his washes. This is my crease color. This finger, yeah, I'm going to just leave it for now. No need to touch something that you don't need to touch, you know what I'm saying? See in the inside here, so you can see that this all, it's not showing it the way I see it. Okay, so you can see that this cured up in the thumb, but didn't cure on the hand. See that? Pain in the buttocks. And I will, after I bake these layers, he has had primer added to his hands. So after I do these layers, I'll bake them. I'll see how it's sticking. And if I feel that he needs more primer, then I can easily just add more primer. I'm just going to wipe that off. It's not really necessary there. And I'm just going to use this. Just to get, this is so my dry brush doesn't get too wet. That's why I'm using this one first. In case you're all wondering. Well, why is she blending with two brushes? That's why. Believe me, if you see an artist doing something that you're like, oh, why is she doing that? They have a reason why they're doing what they're doing. You may not understand it, but they do. Because I used to think that when I watch woodworking, I'm like, well, why is he doing that? And I was like, when he finished it, I was like, oh. See, he knows what he's doing. So, every artist just has their own way of bringing things out. So I'm going to do, this finger does need, same thing. It's nice to be working with you again, Pickle. Been a while. Other than his lips, it's been, and ears, it's been a while. I forgot how cute his hands are. Okay, dry brush. Oh, no, you got a smudge on your arm. How'd you get that? See, this is a great thing about heat set. If you make a smudge mark and you don't catch it right away in air dry, get out your correction pen or correction fluid. But with heat set, it doesn't dry right away, so you can just blend it right out and it doesn't affect it. That's another reason why I want to go full heat set. Just because I'm a slower worker, you know, because I have fatigue issues and stuff like that. So I'm not very fast worker. So That's good. It actually looks better to me. I think it's sticking. But I'll know once I do a couple more layers of that. Okay, so I did that part of his arm. This was one of his heat shock. The only thing that he got on from that hurt him a little bit was right here. They're just a little more tiny bubbles here. You can't really see them though. It kind of just looks more like a birthmark, but I guess it just adds to him. That's why I dropped his price. Because of that, and because, you know, I had to do some stuff, and because he was my first African American in heat set. So I'm not going to charge someone a full African American price when I'm new to African American, and, you know, so at least it benefited somebody, you know, and it also helped me out because what I did charge for him helped me out with medical care for my sister's dogs who has cancer. So, and he gets a very loving home and a twin sister. So I'm very happy with how that's going to go. This is just this area here. I'm only doing certain areas because some of this will work together and just like skin blending. You know what I mean? Like different, how do you call it? What do you say? Like complexion. It will blend in with this complexion. But the areas that stand out more that I don't think it's going to blend very well, those are areas that I'm more concerned with. These are one of our nemesis, whether you're doing air dry or heat set, is this area. Because we have to hold them from up here. And also the paint doesn't stick as well to this area. Don't panic as an artist because it's not a huge deal because they know they're not going to see that when they're wearing clothes. And there's a lot of artists. But if you can help it, just give it a little help along the way. Don't panic about it. It's not the end of the world. That would even happen in a factory doll if they were painting them. It's just whenever I find personally, wherever there's a rounded area on the kit, that one seems to be the most picky to cure because it's not as matte surface. It's more glossy, so that's why it gives us so much trouble. See? And then I just add a layer of that. And see how it blended in there better? So I just helped him out a little bit. But unfortunately, that's going to happen no matter which one you're doing. With the air dry, you get more color on it. Because when the color gets under your thumb and you're holding the way you're holding it, it can actually cause more color to stick there. But with heat set, because it doesn't dry right away, the paint doesn't wind up staying. You wind up taking the paint off. So I would prefer to fill in paint rather than have too much of it on there. That's just how I am. I'm going to add some up here too. And it's blending well together. Just got to watch for the darker area of the skin, that's all. Okay, I can already I can already see a change. It's not as bare as it was in person. I'm seeing more of a brown here than I am seeing it looks olivey in there more than the closer to the vinyl color. You know what I mean? So I do see that it is tinted here more. So it is sticking. So I must have, I couldn't remember how far I primed him, if I've done layers over that, but I must have not. It's a little darker in this area, but that's no big deal. because that's probably because it's stuck there. But yeah, I can already see it's taking. That excites me. That excites me. That means I can work on them in the meantime. Because if it wasn't sticking, then I would have to be like, oh, I gotta bake them, and then I gotta add primer, and then bake them again before I can fix them. And I can't use the oven right now. So, so I'm actually quite excited that it is sticking. you know, Heat set is more, you have more, heat set is more challenging in that aspect where you can't just keep going. Like with air dry, got you so used to where you can just keep going and going. You don't need to bake to do your next steps. You know what I mean? So, but with heat set, it's like, oh gosh. Because the primer and the paint have to be baked separately. You can't paint over primer until it's baked. You can in air dry. You just gotta let it sit for 24 hours. That's the only difference. I'm gonna get around his nail here. I'm just a little worried that it might have brought so much paint over here. Okay. Now I'm going to just blend it on this finger here. Going around the nail. And then I'm going to get my dry brush. Yeah, that looks a lot better. I haven't seen his hands in a... Well, I mean, he's hanging right next to me, but that doesn't sound very good, does it? His limbs are hanging next to me, but, just making sure this... But I can't see his hands very well because they're upside down, but yeah, I forgot about how much work they needed. So I'm glad I decided to work on their limbs. Now, Friday does look like a day I will be able to bake. Like, I thought today might, but it's 25 degrees today, but with wind chill, it's 20. So on Friday, it's going to be 30. So, and I can bake 25 and up. I prefer to only bake at 30, but if I do that, I'll be waiting forever. So, I'm going to, Friday looks like an open day for me, unless they change it, which they better not. Like when I went out yesterday, it said it was 17, but feels like 4. I'm like, what? It's the wind chill. That's why. Okay. That looks good. Much better, buddy. Dead things come alive. Dead things come alive. Oh yeah, that's really come together. Yeah, I probably did prime his hands the last time I worked on them. Because it wasn't sticking that well before. Believe me. It's just been so long I couldn't remember. Because I've been working on their heads. Because it's just easier when you're doing all the same detailing. You can move it like an assembly line. Okay, one head done. This same thing in this head. Same thing in this head. Same thing in this head. So his have been, for him, there's been similarities. The colors have been the same, just in different areas than the Caucasian. So he's been on the assembly line too. But I was planning on working on restoring his limbs. This is called what we call restoring, like to fix it. I was planning on doing that when I was rooting his head to move things along faster. I was trying to get his head faster to the rooting table. But Mother Nature and Vertigo didn't let that happen so quickly, did they? I had a recently really bad bout of vertigo that lasted 2 weeks. And then it took me an additional week to sit up longer to wear. Well, I was sitting up pretty well, but it was the goggles that I was mostly struggling with. The visors, and I need my visors for detailing and stuff. And I also wear them to make sure that the paint and heat set is blended. So when I can't wear them, I'm more likely to make a mistake. And that's what I was worried about. So yeah, that was a 3-week bout right there. That sucked. At least I got back to painting in the 3rd week. But not for long periods of time like I do now. But it took me an additional week to be able to root, because I have to wear the visors longer for rooting. So I started at 1 hour, and then I was able to bump it back up to my 2 hour at a time. So that's good that worked out. It's just frustrating, when you want to work and you can't. When you want your body to do something and it refuses to do it. Oh, so frustrating. Like yesterday, I thought I was going to collapse, man. I was like, oh my gosh, am I going to make it home? Because, it's weird. I don't know what it's called in your countries, but in Canada, we have a place called Service Canada. And whatever you're doing, like driver's license, health cards, things like that, name changes, marriage license, all that sort of stuff. You go there for that. And we have a big one that's downtown, but they have outlets as well. So because I don't pay attention to the news and what's going on, because I used to when it was on Facebook, but Facebook doesn't allow it because they won't pay that fee, whatever it is. But anyway, I didn't know that they moved our outlet in my area. So when I called an Uber yesterday, I had them drop me off at where I thought it was, and it wasn't there anymore. It was empty. So there was a man in the building, and I said, what's going on? Where is everyone and all the furniture? And he said, and here's the weirdest thing. He said they moved to Walmart. So he says, I'm pretty sure they moved to Walmart. And I haven't been into Walmart barely since the fall, but since all my scooter went away. But I swear, I didn't see, it was there in the summer. Because they've been there for almost a year. I didn't see it, and I didn't pay attention to that side though, because it's all nail salons, and we used to have a McDonald's, but they closed McDonald's down. But anyway, I was like, what? So I call Walmart just to make sure. I said, do you guys have a Service Canada in your store? And they said, yeah, we do. I said, what? Where? They said next to customer service. I'm like, oh my God. I was at customer service in November and I didn't see it. Because, and I was like, oh my gosh. So I'm like, okay, what are their hours? They said during the week they're open 8 o'clock. I was like, oh, sweet. Okay. But I promised my sister, because I needed her to stay here with Toby, because it's too cold to leave Toby outside, and I don't like him in the house with my mom because he's a very powerful dog. and my mom's older. So, I had to walk from the place that I thought was the Service Ontario and walked all the way to the baby store so I could go. It's a consignment store. So I could get my sister clothes for her new baby, Brittany, the one I showed you guys earlier. And I knew she was really looking forward to me doing that. So I was like, but I didn't want to pay for another Uber, you know? So I was like, screw it. So I walked all the way to the baby store, which is not too far for most people. But when you have a chronic bad knee and then you have a healing knee injury on the other side, it was a rough one. And you're afraid to fall on the ice. It was a rough walk. But, yeah, so it was brutal. And then I took they have a bench in the baby store, so I took a little seat break, for my poor knees. Because I actually went to Dollarama first. So then I took a sitting break over at the baby store. Called my sister and we virtual shopped, which means I did a video call with her so she could pick out what she wanted. And then I went to Value Village. And they have like all these baby clothes like in a bunker. They're not like set up on hangers. So I grabbed a chair from where they were selling chairs. And I sat in that chair while I went through 6 bunkers of clothes looking for stuff. But I didn't find much. But I did find a Winnie the Pooh sleeper. And a headband. That was a bonus. But anyway, I was done after that. But I still had to go to Walmart to renew my health card. Because it's expired. So I was like, come on, body. Come on. So I called an Uber. Take me across the street. And it cost me the same thing because it's a starting price, so it still cost me the same thing. But it went pretty well. And thankfully, there was an actual working scooter at Walmart, which never happens. Because they're always, but a lot of people are staying home, so they're not being used as much. So I was like, thank God. So I got my sister a deal on 3 more outfits in newborn, because newborn's very hard to find in consignment. But I was able to. So she was really, I video called her again from Walmart. So that's why I wasn't live last night. I was so wiped out by the time I got home. I was ready to keel right over. I was like, I'm sure glad no one waited for me today to come on live because I couldn't even move. I had to take ibuprofen. I was getting back spasms and stuff, right? It was rough. It was rough. But worth it. Because now my sister got her stuff. I got my renewal of my health card. So next week, there will be one day. It depends what time the appointment is. I got to make an appointment for Lily to get blood work done next week at the vet. So if it doesn't interfere with my live, I'm still going to do my live. But if it interferes with my live schedule, then I'll just not do the live that day. Or not the whole day, but whenever I'm taking her to the vet. Because that won't win me too much, I tell you guys, I can't wait to go back to swimming in April so I can get in better shape. I'm what you call winter stiff. Okay, buddy, I think I would like a little more blending in here, though. Yeah, that looks a lot better. Boy, I'm sure glad that I decided to start working on their limbs. Because now, this is done. You know what I'm saying? Well, almost done. I still have to do use the other strength. But for the dark color, I think I'm going to go lighter next time because I don't want to do this too dark. So I just used the darker one to kind of speed the process up a little bit. And then that's what I did with his nose. And then I go over the lighter color so it's not too dark. So, because his wash color is thinner than this color. It's basically the same color. It's just that this one is stronger because it's for creasing. But they're pretty much close to the same color. I don't know if I did that or not. No, I don't think I did. Because it doesn't look glossy. Oh, I need a little bit of paint. Just a little bit. I know I did on the other hand. But not this hand. Well, it's nice to be back to working today. But that was my day yesterday. Challenge. And it was snowing. When I got home, the temperature dropped like 10 degrees. Because it was freezing. But I had a really great Uber driver on the way home. He carried everything for me, even when I got home, so I gave him a tip. I only tip the nice drivers. That's what I like about Uber. It's like with a cab, they're looking at you, and then you got to worry about what they're going to say if you don't tip them if they're a crappy driver. So the thing with Uber is you tip them after your ride to see if you like them or not. So I like that better. Because I had one Uber driver, and the car smelled like smoke. And I'm allergic to any type of smoke. You name it, I'm allergic to it. Because I'm asthmatic. My lungs just go berserk. So, I didn't report him because I didn't want him to lose his job, you know. But it could have just been on his clothes or whatever. But I blocked him so I don't get him again. Because there's other people who won't mind it as much. So I didn't want to report him and get him fired. Because you cannot have smoke smell in a service car that you're using for services for the public. You're not allowed. It's illegal where we live. So they would have fired him for that. I know they would have. And I didn't want to get him fired. So everyone's trying to get by. And I didn't want to do that. So I just blocked it so I don't get him again. I didn't put a reason. I just... And he did not get a tip. Just that. Hey, man. He didn't even help me? He wasn't friendly at all either. Like, you don't deserve a tip, man. But I wasn't going to get the poor guy fired either. Times are rough. The only people that I would try and get fired are really bad ones. Because we all have a bad day, you know what I mean? So it has to be pretty bad for me to... Because I used to work in sales and stuff like that. Restaurants, all sorts of stuff. I know what it's like to have a bad day. You know... But if you're being racist or bigotry or yelling at a customer or humiliating them or something like that, then I'm going to your boss. Or believe I'm going to your boss. I had a woman that I reported, and she doesn't work there anymore. I think they said they swapped her because I said I'm not coming back here if she's working here. Because she actually was gossiping about me when I was standing near her to another employee and to a customer. Like making fun of me. It had something to do with one of the children that were, it had to do with the kids. I was a nanny of. The baby was crying because he was cranky. And she was asking me why he wasn't with his mother and all this sorts of stuff. And I just told her, well, that's none of your business. You know, that's between me and his mother, isn't it? And she didn't like that, you know, because she approached us and she said, what's wrong with the baby, Mama? And I said, well, I'm his nanny, not his mama, and he's just tired, you know, cranky, needs to get home. And he was about, like, I think 7 or 8 months old at the time. And she said, oh, why isn't he with his mother? I was like, you got a lot of nerve, lady. Seriously? And then when I said that to her, she kind of just stormed off. And she went to talk to the lottery employee because she was a greeter. Can you guys believe that? A greeter. Nice greeting. And so, oh yeah, I'm not doing this side of it. Why did I do the other side of his hand? Oh, they were really pale in those areas though, so that's okay. But anyway, because I got to lighten this side anyway. She's standing there talking to the lottery lady about me, and I could hear her, okay? It's not like a far distance over there. And then a customer who knows her comes up to talk to her, and then she starts telling her about me. She's a nanny. Where's the mother? The baby's crying. And he wasn't crying anymore at this point, you know? I gave him a snack, you know? Like, you know those little star things that they can eat and all that? Well, I was trying to get out of checkout to pay for everything so I could take him out and give it to him. And then he was happy again. But he was tired, you know. But yeah, I just couldn't believe that woman. It was unreal. But I heard they wound up transferring her because they know me very well at that store. I used to work in that Walmart when I was younger. So they know me very well. And I said, listen, I'm not coming here if she's in this location, because what if I was a stressed out mother and she's acting like that towards the mother? Like, you know, I was a stressed out nanny. I didn't need the judgment. I was just trying to get stuff paid for and get out of there so I can tend to him, you know. I did my best as I could with this while I was paying for stuff, but, you know, I'm one person. But people are very nosy and judgy of even mothers, you know. Instead of judging someone, why don't you offer to help them? Like, hi, is there anything I can do to help you? You know? You don't freaking treat people like that and judge them like that, you know? Walk up to them all judgmental and stuff like that. You don't do that. You can furtherly stress out a stressed out mother, which could lead to something not good. So you're better off to just offer your help instead of judgment. Now, if they leave their kids in a hot car, you can judge them for that. I'd be yelling at someone too. In Canada, you're not allowed to leave your kids in a car. You'd be arrested for that. That's illegal. Even if it's winter. Like, you're not allowed to leave children unattended over here. Like, I can't believe how many videos I've seen in the United States of parents leaving their kids in a car. You know? Even at a gas, like this guy left his kids in the car at a gas station and he kept the car running. And this thief grabbed his car with his kids in it. Oh my God, that made me nervous. Stressful enough leaving. When I used to bring my Moses out with me, I left him in the dog trailer. You know what I mean? And I kept checking on him. Like every 5 minutes, kept running back to the window, checking on him. Running back to the window, checking on him. Like, I couldn't even imagine my own kids were left out in a car. Just take him with you. You know? I would have took my dog if I was allowed, but he wasn't allowed in that store. And he was a husky, so little dogs you can kind of get away with more. They let my Daisy in there because she's just she's a Shih Tzu Lhasa mix. Just a little thing. As long as she's in a dog enclosed dog stroller, they don't care. By the way, Elizabeth, your teddy is adorable. I haven't seen a Yorkie with lighter colors like that though before. My Yorkie was her back was really black, and her other color was like a brown, like a caramel brown. She was a beauty. But my sister got me hooked on poodles, so I'm definitely getting a poodle. Hopefully a party poodle in the future, in my 50s. Sometime in my 50s. For now, I got 3 dogs of my own, so in the future, I just want 1 dog. It's getting too costly now with the way things are, and harder on me with my health issues and stuff now, so my mobility scooter makes it so great for me to be able to do adventures though with them. And Toby, he's my big boy. He's lazy though. He is not like my huskies were. Those guys were still running at 12 years old. Or Toby, he's like his breed is they laze around the farm and they keep an eye on the livestock and keep them safe from predators. So Toby's always on patrol in the yard when he's out there looking for critters because we don't have livestock. So he's trying to protect the other dogs from critters. But the only thing he's ever killed is an opossum because the animals are too fast for him. But the opossum was a young one and it fell off the gate. And that's how we got. I can't even look at an opossum after that day. Okay, good pickle. We got that done on you. Look at that face. It's just a handsome face, isn't he? He's just so cute. So cute. I'm going to be restoring the pickle, a different pickle that I did in air dry. That was part of the Bad Batch paint. And I did try and fix him. But he was a lighter skin. They're a lot harder to fix because they turn like really blue blotches and yellow blotches, and they turn like greenish, and the darker they are, the harder it is to tell. So, I'm going to strip that kit, but he has HP locks hair rooted, like $200 worth in Canada, rooted. So, I found out from someone who's well known, in the Reborn world, that HP locks can withstand heat, unlike cheaper brands. You just wet the hair, before you put them in the oven, and they're fine. So it's like, okay. Plus, I have 2 rings on my oven. Like, I can put 2 rings on it to keep the top of the heater further away from the head. The top of the head, and that would limit that from happening anyway. So, I'm going to redo him in heat set for no extra cost, since he faded because of the paint I was using, or they wouldn't have me do it, right? So, let's see how long I've been on. Okay, that's about 2 hours, guys. So, we got some work done on Brittany. Worked on Primrose's lips, and touch-ups on Pickle's limbs. Call that a pretty good day. So, I'm going to sign off. but I'll be live tonight at 7 p.m. So I'm gonna be working on Brittany again, and if I have nothing else to do on Brittany before 9 o'clock, then I'm gonna go to Ellie. Okay, so thank you for watching.